Gertman, Buckeye Huddle.
Jim, how much did you guys prepare for the triple option?
I think we practiced it 5 plays or less. And that's stretching it.
So how impressed were you then, and how happy were you that they performed so well against
Yeah, I was pleased. We were able to make the adjustments quickly, and the communication was good, and guys were really locked in and helping each other, and talking it out, and they understand the system. So when I said something, they got it, and I was happy with the way it went.
Go far left, Joe Nugent, WCMH.
After the game, several players shared that they weren't happy that they allowed 3 points. Did you sense that from them, and what do you make of that?
It's just I think guys are striving for a higher standard, and games go differently all the time. But when you feel you're on top of your game, and you can stop them, you should. So I guess that's probably why they felt that they weren't happy with that.
Right in front of Joe, Justin Holbrook, WCMH.
Ryan said one thing that you do going into a season is you make assumptions, good or bad, and sometimes they play out, sometimes they don't. One of those was talk about the secondary getting their hands on balls, but to see it, especially from Denzel, just what was it like to go through preseason camp and then in the moment instincts kick in and it happened for him?
Yeah, you have to see it show up in the game. But if you're doing things right as a coach, then the practice mirrors the game. So he had been doing that, and it was great to see that come to fruition.
How hard is it for a secondary to stay locked in when they're only throwing the ball so many times, maybe 8 attempts by the third quarter?
Yeah, it's difficult. Get into that kind of game, option game, running game, and you can get lulled to sleep. So I was happy with the way they stayed in tune. A couple deep shots that they took.
Fourth row middle, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan was talking to us about Josh, and he's been consistent is the word he used to kind of earn the starting spot at that position. I'm just curious your evaluation of how he played, and also Malik getting in the second half and where he kind of fits in at this point.
Yeah, I thought Josh played well. I mean, we, have always had high hopes for him, talented, looking for that consistency like Coach talked about, and he showed that, toward the end of our preseason work. He's got some plays underneath him, so we went with him, and I thought he played well. I thought he showed up, and Malik is he's a young, talented player, and I think you saw that in the game. I mean, should have had an interception, but he gets his hands on balls. He's around, third down stops. He's just around the ball.
Third row left, Dan Hope, Lebanon Warriors.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, what went into the decision for Josh to start and then for Malik to play and for Jihad not to play?
Yeah. They're tough decisions. I mean, guys are in a battle, and they're all good quality players. That's coaching, right? You just evaluate all the plays, all the reps. Thought it was close between Josh and Malik, but Josh has some plays underneath him. So for a first game, we thought it would be better to go that way, but still get Malik in the game. It's hard to play 3 guys, in a tightly contested game.
Do you see Josh continuing to start going forward?
I mean, looks that way. I think it'll continue to be highly contested. So you have to earn it every week when you're in one of those situations. You really have to evaluate practice.
Front row middle, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Jim, Coach Day was going over some of the guys on offense that graded out as a champion. What about defense? How many of your guys graded out as a champion?
Oh, I don't know if I have that list with me.
Dozen-ish. And we don't report the list.
Oh, that doesn't go. That doesn't go.
Dozen-ish.
Somebody told me when I first got here that was like public. That with the champions. It was.
It should be.
It should. I'm just a middle manager. That's all. I'm just a middle manager.
It was a lot, Coach.
Yeah, it was a dozen. Yeah, as Jeremy said, dozen. Yeah.
All right, next door, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Was there anything that you didn't particularly like Saturday? It looked like a pretty complete defensive performance.
A couple third downs, I thought, we were solid across the board, but there were a couple third downs, where we gave up the completion, or we just, when they start doing all the triple option stuff and spinning the backs, and then they start combining it with like an inside run power play, and if you get like slightly off a gap, I think maybe one slipped through where we should have been and could have stopped them. So I just would have liked to seen us stop a couple more third downs.
Far left, Whitney Harding, WCMH.
The first game is always a good starting point. So now going into the next week, where specifically do you want to see this defense grow and get better?
That first game was really kind of an anomaly because of they came out with triple option. So I think we still have to perform against conventional offense. Rushing the passer, we didn't get much of a chance to do that. Compete and contest against regular drop back passes. So we just need to grow more against a conventional offensive system.
Second row middle, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
I know you guys were excited about Davison and just his size, his physicality. That came with a little bit of handsiness in this first game. I guess just in general, when you've got a cornerback who's going to play that physical, where is the line for you? How much are you willing to take because you're getting this other attribute?
Yeah, I think you don't hold him back at all. I mean, we want him to be physical. We want him to be aggressive. We want him to lay hands on people. And, now you just coach the technique. There's a right way to do it. Just like coaching offensive linemen, how things go on every play, but there's a right way and where to have your hands and how to be at the end of the play. But you want to keep encouraging the physicality.
I know you guys were excited, optimistic about what the cornerback play was going to be compared to what happened last year. And this wasn't maybe, as you're saying, the best passing-oriented team to test that, but what were you most encouraged about from the cornerback group in general?
Yeah, I mean, staying on top of deep balls, the reaction on the cross-country type routes, where they bring one guy from the other side, Denzel and Jordan getting their hands on balls, really. Was a great thing to see, and like you said, Davison with his physicality. I mean, he really brought it. Even in the run game.
Right next door, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
You talked in the preseason about wanting to maybe rotate a little bit more at those linebacker spots, getting Cody, especially Cody, getting him more involved. Maybe CJ to a lesser extent, but Cody especially. He didn't necessarily play that much. Did the game just not provide an opportunity?
Yeah. Wish I could have done that. I mean, what happens is you get limited number of plays, and then you get triple option, which is a complicated offense, particularly if you haven't practiced against it. So with linebackers, you really want them to get the feel of it, and they got to see it and how it's all playing out and where it's all fitting. So it just went that way.
With Sonny, I think the first third down, when it ended up being 3rd and 7, you take him off the field and you put Cameron Martinez. This is a guy that maybe we thought could do a lot of different things. Are you still kind of slow playing how much you want to throw at him this early on in the season?
Yes. We want, Sonny's a great talent. We just want to continue to grow him, not put too much on him.
Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth row right, Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Coach Davis talking about how with the new clock rule, it's harder to get guys in with just fewer possessions. You were kind of hitting on that earlier, but is that something you saw in this first game? Kind of took you by surprise with just how quickly that game went?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so much a surprise. I thought it would be that way, but it was magnified by the kind of offense that we went against, so it made it even more difficult to play as many guys as I would have liked.
Right behind him, Cameron T. Robinson, the athletic.
Jim, that type of offense can put a lot of stress on the defensive line. What did you learn about those interior guys? I know you thought you guys, I know you like Jaden and some of those guys coming in, but what did you learn about how deep that is?
They made plays. I know you guys understand the game, pay attention, but they made plays. They made plays in the run game, for those 0, 1, 2, 3 yard gains. When you have particularly the defensive tackles, when you go back and look at it and you say, hey, these guys are making tackles, not just using up blocks, they're making tackles for 3 yards or less in the run game. I think that's really something positive to build on.
Second row middle, second row right, Bill Landis, Rivals, the podcast.
Jim, you were talking about Josh Proctor, I think last week, maybe perhaps the week before. You said how he triggers downhill, how he can get involved in the run game. This actually turned out to be a pretty good game for that, I guess. How curious are you still to see how he might fare against more traditional drop-back passing offenses?
Yeah, Josh that's his strong point is being aggressive, playing downhill as a safety. So, I definitely want to see how he reacts to balls thrown down the field. That's something you got to see out of safeties.
Fourth row middle, Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now.
Jim, I was kind of laughing to myself as you somewhat, I think, sarcastically said last week when we were asking you, hey,
I did say that triple option, didn't I?
Prep routine.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could run a triple option. Did you laugh in the box when they?
I did. Yeah, I did. I don't know if I was laughing, but I was, It's like a lot of scribbling, like, okay, make this back spins this way, this one goes here, this guy's got, So, yeah, that's first games,
I'm sorry.
No, I don't. You wonder, like, is that going to be their offense now, or was that just for us? I don't know, but it's one of the things you get in first games. You never know.
Whether it was related to that or not, because it was the first game, I'm sure you had questions you wanted to answer about your own team. Did you prove anything to yourself?
Yeah, prove is a strong word, but we have a long season, some highly competitive opponents. So, but there are indications that we're moving on the right path when, we gave up one explosive play, which I blamed myself for with the defense, and otherwise we were able to keep the ball in front of us and inside of us, and that's a really good thing.
Got time for two more. Far right, Adam King, WBNS.
There's been quite a few times in the last 5 years where kind of the offense has sometimes bailed out the Ohio State defense. Saturday, the defense won the game. Ryan David chuckled that he could be happy to win with defense. Is there a pride in the room to know that, the defense stepped up and kind of secured that win?
Yeah, there's I guess, for 24 hours, hey, we did our job. There's no parade. Nobody's going to have a parade or anything. It's like, hey, you did your job. Good job. Now on to the next. But it does build the confidence that we have to have for future opponents. It does. And it does, I believe, when you play great defense, it just gives everybody confidence. Whether you're a fan or on the team, you just kind of know, hey, everything's going to be okay when you play great defense.
When you have a young quarterback on the other side, how much does that confidence help to know that, hey, you throw an interception, if you make a mistake, that's okay, we've got your back?
Yeah, it's just being part of a team. It's just being part of a team. You want to make sure that your teammates, you want to be a great teammate. That includes me as a coach. We're all part of a team. You just want to make sure that people can count on you, no matter what happens anywhere else in the game, that people can count on you.
And final questions, front row right, Tim May, on three, Letterman row, Tim May podcast.
Tim May show. No, it doesn't matter. Coach, you touched on this a minute ago. the way this defense reacted to, like you said, the triple option, and little time y'all spent, does that in your gut tell you they're getting it? You understand what I'm saying? Because there's an answer to, no matter what a team throws at you, there should be an answer to whatever you call it, right? And I'm just, I guess how much does that warm your heart that it's coming around?
There's no warmth in my heart. It's it's very cold. It's very cold. I think it's an indicator. It's an indicator, because you're right. When you're sitting up there in the box and you see that, you're like, okay, I know what to do. But I haven't made a legal tackle since 1986. So, I mean, I know what to do, but do they know what to do? And so it's an indicator that we can handle the controlled chaos that happens during a game.
And the other thing, the rotation of the defensive line, especially in the middle of that defensive line, we got the idea Mike Hall was going to see a lot of snaps. I'm not sure how many he did get on Saturday.
Maybe 27, maybe 23.
Yeah. But, I mean, did you like that rotation?
Loved it. Loved it.
Why?
Guys stay fresh. Guys stay fresh. We're going to have to rush the passer eventually. And when you're taking a lot of shots inside in the run game, you got to stay fresh to be able to rush the passer. So I like it.
Thank you, great. Coach, thank you very much.